Good afternoon. Afternoon, everyone. Right. Hello. On the screen, you can see week 4 practical. Yeah, there are three labs. Okay, we start with implementing ether channel, right? And then based on topic, we have the implement ether channel, and the second one 933 packet tracer Hsrp configuration guide. So lab 4.2 is the gateway redundancy, and then 6.2 is basically implementing the channel. So lab 4.1 is also a packet tracer activity file. Basically, it's a sort of practice of what you've learned so far, and it's combined, right? So you can see that as revision um, to ensure that you, until that particular topic, that you are able to perform the configuration, right? So really do try it and test yourself, see whether uh, you can do it. Okay, I expect that you've been following my tips. Okay, all the configurations you basically keep in as notes, or whether manual notes or digital notes, so that when you are faced with the configuration, you straight away know what are the commands to issue, yeah, to issue in order to get the configuration done, right? So for that 4.1 self-assessment is basically for you to self-assess yourself to see all the topics that we learned so far. Are you able to do the configuration, right? In fact, I do hope that you've been keeping notes, keeping notes for each of the configurations setting. Right, so we'll just have a look at that, each of them, and after that I'll let you try it out yourself. And okay, we'll start with doing the. Let me just okay. Let me just share my screen. Let's see that. Okay. All right. So as you can see on the screen, you basically can see that these are the what lah configuration you have to do, S1 to S2. I think I'll point this side instead. S1 being switch 1 and switch 2, right? And then you can see the circle over the two links between the switches, actually indicating that it's ether channel. Right, so addressing tables given to you. So S1, S2 both belong to VLAN 10, right? And IP addresses are given with subnet mask. The VLAN that you need to create, okay? VLAN 10, 20, 999 parking lot. As usual, parking lot is meant to isolate certain, if you want me to isolate certain interface, then you assign VLAN 999, right? So we are selecting this range here, okay, right? And native being changed from default VLAN 1 to 1000. So this is the VLAN table just for you to create for your settings. So as usual, part one, you build the network, means you just drag and drop two switches and two end devices, desktop, yeah, and then perform the connections here, the medium here, right? And then configure basic device settings. After that, you create VLANs, assign switch ports. Okay, which means most probably here will be trunks, and here um, at the horse end, yeah, will be access mode, right? So and then after that, assign switch ports, configure the trunk, all right, and then implement and verify ether channel. Okay, so we want these two to be ether channel links. All right. Okay, so you are asked to do lag P, right? So the command will be active and passive, right? Okay, you're not, because the question asks you lag P, this open standard, okay, not the proprietary with lag P, right? So be aware of your command that you use, okay, for the channel, yeah. So instead of I think desirable and auto, you should put in active, right, or passive, right? Those kind of, right. All right. So excuse me. All right. Okay. So read the instructions. Required resources. Okay, and then just follow through the step by step because the configure basic setting. So you're given all the particulars in order for you to do basic setting. So right now, okay, you should have your own notes already. What's the command? So simply replace. Okay, you can even practice now. So imagine that you're doing SBA at the end of the semester, right? You basically already have a template, your template to configure basic settings. Just grab those that is required by the question, put it there, implement all the, the parameters like class, Cisco as a password, put it there. So just copy, paste, and then you're done for configuring the switch. Okay, this is the fastest way. And we need the speed so that we can afford to finish the complete SBA because that is our aim, right? We want to know how to do it. We know all the commands to do it, and we aim to complete. Okay, by doing the exercises, it trains you. So when you need to do the SBA, the skill-based assessment, right? You will then be able to do it comfortably and complete it within the allocated time, lah. Right? Okay, so step two, then step three, configure the host, the PC, yeah. Yeah, just configure the host address information. But then create your VLANs, assign your switch ports, right? And then configure the trunk links, okay? Right, so this one you've done already from previous week. Those who haven't finished, please, okay? If you don't do it weekly basis, what's going to happen is all of those workload will pile up. This is week 4, week 5, week 6. It's not too long anymore, right? When we reach week 7, so now is week 4. So that means how many weeks left? 2 weeks, right? So please find some time to do. All right. I cannot emphasize more because you don't want towards the end and the work you need to do is pile up, right? Pile up. Okay. Those who haven't complete, please find some time. Okay. Really think about it. It's only like 2 weeks left before week 7. So really need to um, buckle down a little bit lah, because this is a short sem, right? So you want to be comfortable going into the exam, right? I believe right after week 7, the exam already. Okay, don't really give you much time for study week and something like that, right? So really need to put an effort in, okay, right? And then the last part, part 4, is where you implement the ether channel. After you implement, you basically need to make sure it works, right? So one way is to show interface trunk to verify trunking is there, and then answer the question here if is this question, which means you also will save a copy of this with your answers, right? Remind you to provide your answer different color lah, so it's highlighted against the background of the black words. Right. So again, show inter-channel summary to verify that your inter-channel configuration is correct. Okay, so that's lab 4.1, 642. The only new things here is the part 4 lah. Right, part 4. So the rest you've done before, so it should be comfortable for you to do. All right. All right. So right, next I want to show the you. It should be 4.1. Still, yeah. I want to show you the lab 4.1 self-assessment template, right? So it looks, you can download it already shared, yeah. Okay, so it looks like this. So you see a topology, right? You see a topology, right, on your screen. So at the right hand side, you're given the task to do. Okay, so you do basic device settings. Then number two, you step by step, do step by step. Configure your VLAN assign switch port as usual from even from the 4.1 earlier on, and then configure your trunk. Okay, then configure intra-VLAN communication. Inter-VLAN simply means inter-VLAN routing. Yeah, okay, so you can see here, right, and verify it. Okay, so this is up until inter-VLAN routing is testing your what your skill. So where is the routing to be done? Here you can see it must be routed. So since you only have one link, means it's routed on a stick. So that means when you are configuring the inter-VLAN routing, you need to use the router on the stick to provide that uh, facility lah. So you can see here the VLAN table is given to you, and the IP addressing table is also given to you, right? So this one is just again additional packet tracer activity for you to basically able to do this configuration up to inter-VLAN routing. So you can see there, okay, if you've been following, if you remember the inter-VLAN routing router on the stick, you can see that this is actually indicating the what sub interfaces, right? Sub interfaces for the router. Yeah. Okay, just maybe just do something first. Let me just check something. Right. So just recall what you have done prior to this, and then it should be all right. Okay. Nothing new. Okay, just to um, allow you to basically to allow you to reinforce what you've learned already. So, okay. Uh, okay, so here is the sub interface, right? All right, so that's the one. Any questions so far for both? Should be straightforward, right?
I
Hi.
think should be straightforward.
Yeah. Noel?
Okay.
Okay. Kelvin? Okay so far?
Okay.
Very soft. Your
Yeah.
can't hear you. Can you speak up louder a bit?
Okay.
Okay, I can because we've done already. This one is just the configuration. They are all combined into one exercise. Okay, so because earlier on you learn about basic device settings, and then you learn about configuring VLANs, right? And then after you're learning about configuring VLANs, we learn how to configure trunks and access port now, access port and trunk ports, right? And that's number 3. Okay, and then we say, okay, so our VLAN is working, but they can't talk to each other, right? So we want inter-VLAN routing, means we want the messages to be able to cross over from one VLAN to another VLAN. So when we look at this topology, we only see router here, right? And we know router allows us to forward between VLANs. So the only possible topology we can do for routing in this situation is router on a stick. Okay, single single link from a switch to the router. So that means router on a stick will need to do sub interfaces on that particular interface. So the interface is G00, right? I think 0040. No, these are all sub interfaces already. So we have to check lah. Can check here. Ooh, it's locked. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we have a G00. So I believe that router and stick interface, physical interface is gigabit 00. And then from 00, then we have a sub interface. That means these are all the sub interfaces matching the VLANs we create. Right? Okay, so don't forget to enable routing, IPv4 routing on the router. I believe these exercises are not indicating we use any IPv6, so no need to activate IPv6 routing. Right, so this is basically just self-review, meaning I hope that for every task indicated here, you already save a list of commands to do it, okay? And so that it's not really automatic, but it's easier for you to not have to recall all the commands again, and then it's already there. You treat it as a template, okay, copy, paste into a notepad or something, and then perform your configuration, because it's every question different parameters, right? Different values. Then once you're happy with that, you copy that and enter your whatever you want to configure, switches, right? Switches or routers, and then just copy paste and run. It will run like a script, you know. It will run like a script, because whatever you paste, it will run one line after another, right? If just in case, just to check if the last command is not, there's no enter key, because you just copy up to the end of the line, not to the next line, right? Sometimes it doesn't include enter key, so the last command, if you're not careful, the last command is not executed, right? So just press enter if you notice that, right? So in that way, it's very, very fast. You can do it very fast, because you and to prepare for SBA in week 7, you already know, and we will give you what's coverage is it. So you already know, okay, we need to configure VLAN. We need to configure basic device settings, VLAN. So I must have a set of commands for that, set of commands for that, set of commands to configure trunk, set of commands just in case inter-VLAN routing, set of commands to STP. I don't think need to do anything. You need only to do the guard and towards the port guard and to block the BPDU, right? And yesterday we learned about the Ether channel. So another set of commands for implementing Ether channel, right? And then after Ether channel, again another set of commands to provide router redundancy. Okay, so you have all this selection of commands, list of commands, so you can pick and choose what the question asks you. Oh, I need this set of commands, right? So then you customize them and implement them. Customize, implement. Like I say, doing this way, and you can practice on this kind of exercise like self-review, practical assessment, because in the SBA you might be asked to do very similar things, right? So if you practice on this, when SBA comes, it should be no issue, or it should be no problem, because you're prepared lah. Yeah. All right. So the third one that we have, the third is the packet tracer Hsrp, which is the redundancy protocol from Cisco for providing redundant gateway address, right? Okay, so let's have a look at that. That's 933, right? Okay, we just open it. Still loading my computer. All right, so yes, it's open already. Just okay. Right, so I'm just gonna move that over.
Is this provided by Cisco?
Hang on, which one are you talking about?
This one, the self-review.
This one provided by Cisco. But don't know, because I haven't checked online NetAcad.
Oh, okay.
So it could be prepared by it could be one of the previous it's a sample for previous SBA. I'm not sure, right? But this is provided by CC, so if it's not available on the NetAcad, means it was created by one of the assigned lecturer to do this, right? Sometimes the CC also do this topology, right? So okay, so let me just change the view to this one. This is the excuse me, Hsrp configuration guide. So you are given this topology, right? So the internet, and note that you have R1, R3, R2. Okay, so if you see it here as a circle, it's not really an issue, because these are routers, and routers work on layer 3. Layer 3 has got TTL, time to leave field in the layer 3 packet header, right? So the looping is not an issue with layer 3, right? And here S1, S3, R3, R1, because it's go beyond, okay, one hop, which means also not issue looping. The looping situation is only an issue with switches and inside LAN, okay, because it's layer 2. So in this case, we can see that it's not going to be an issue in looping. That means STA, STP is not going to figure in this topology. But we do see we have more than one routers available. So as you know, Hsrp acronym is for the and we know that this one is provided, it's a proprietary protocol from Cisco, is to provide that virtualization of the router gateway in order to provide redundancy. So we're given all the routers, interfaces, and IP addresses, right? And then INET, I guess, is the internet, right? Internet. And then Hsrp virtual gateway is the virtual gateway. Remember that the IP address for this one is the IP address for the virtual what lah? I think yesterday we actually had a look at the configuration. Okay, we also encountered this in tutorial already. Okay, and then we have switch 1 and switch 3, both running on VLAN 1. Okay, and VLAN 1 IP address for each of the switch. Yeah, I guess this is the management interface, right? Is given as that. Okay, and the default gateway, of course, will be different. So that means if you have the different gateway, means you have load balancing done. Yeah. Okay. So you can see PCA, PCB as well is doing that. Right, and the web server attached to another network attached to the internet. You can access via our gateway. Yeah? Right, so it's given as these values lah, the IP and their own gateway. Right. Okay, so those are the information. Okay, IP address and gateway address and interface and all this, yeah, for all the devices you see on the topology. Right, so objective to configure active router, and then that means if one router becomes active, the remaining routers will become standby. So how do you influence, right? How do you influence which router become active? You change the priority, right? So you change the priority, router priority value. Higher means, by default it's 100, right? Higher than that means you're basically biasing the election. So the one with higher than 100, that particular router will become active, and the rest will just become standby router. Okay, remember that. And then finally, after you configure active and then standby, then you can verify the operation. How do you verify? Basically, if you know which one becomes standby, you identify which one is the active. You just try to disable that, but either you disable that interface as a gateway interface, right? Or simply switch off that router. Okay, simulating that the router is down. Okay, and then after I think 10 seconds, is it? It was indicated as 10 seconds as the default value, where the standby router, if it does not receive any hello messages, then it will promote to active router. So it's take over the load, right? So again, it's a step by step. So don't miss any steps. You should be okay. Finish one step before attempting the next step, because they're all related. They're actually in sequence. Okay, so you have to follow in sequence, right? Okay. To trace the path is using traceroute command. Traceroute command also available in your real command prompt, but also available in the command prompt in the desktop PC inside your packet tracer, right? So just follow the instructions and take note what is happening. Okay, and again, if you need to answer, you have to just copy this into a blank Word. Okay, this is Word will be able to convert this, because this is actually HTML based. Okay, this activity file is HTML based. So although you don't see it, if you copy and paste into Word, it will be able to be translated by Word. Okay, exactly the same. So why we do that? Because you want to be able to answer questions, asked of you. Right? Which devices are on the path from PCB to web server? Right? We can do that by tracing route. Okay, the route being the hops, the router. Okay, so again, just step by step. And then part 2, configure active and standby router. Once one router become active, the rest basically just will be standby routers, right? Okay, just it's already actually offered. So that means you type in and try to understand what's going on, yeah? Right, and then this one is on R1, this one is on R3. Okay, then you verify your Hsrp configuration, right? Show standby, and then answer question, right? Again, just follow, right? And then answer question, right? And then observing the Hsrp operation. Okay, open command prompt and do a trace route. Okay, and then you note as the path given by trace route. The trace route will actually show you the path. Okay, so basically you're accessing web server. So the trace route will note how many hops and which hop that you're going to pass through. Okay, as you are tracing the route. Okay, that's why you're able to detect whether if you have noted earlier what was the path. Now after HRP, do you notice that the path differ, right? Okay, answer yes or no lah here, right? Then this is to simulate downtime of one of the gateway router. So here back the link, right? Okay, so what happened? Follow here and answer questions. And then what happened if you restore the link? Let's say you manage to fix R1 and then you restore the link. Then what happened? Right? And that's it for this one. Okay. Any questions?
No.
Straightforward, huh? And also you can see that it's actually guiding you step by step. Right? All you need to do is follow, but at the same time, try to understand what it's asking you to do. And when you're doing it, what is it for, right? And sometimes they ask you questions, so you have to interpret, okay? Interpret what you're doing, and then try to answer the question. Right. So these are the three. If you don't have time, you can please continue doing at home, right? So we do have homework as well, right? And our homework, let me just stop presenting first and redirect your attention to our what? All right, so the packet tracer homework is composed of these three. They are all packet tracers, so fun time in your own free time, okay, to attempt this. Right, so it's all about ether channel. Remember ether channel, we want to aggregate multiple links between switches. Okay, and I believe you already know a little bit about it. So now it's just to apply practically, okay, your knowledge. Because we did the tutorial already. Try to figure out the troubleshooting, right? Because the question say got problem with it, and then basically the same technique you will do here. So what you have is three: implementing ether channel, configuring ether channel, and troubleshooting, right? So I think there's not many how to say commands here, I guess. I just want to remind you that it's better to ensure, but I think should be no problem with our packet tracer to ensure it's satisfied that both sides are equally the same, right? If you're using VLAN, both sides must be in the same VLAN, must have the same VLAN range that it supports, must be configured as trunk link, right? But you can do the general configuration for each individual link after you configure the ether channel, right? It's better because then whatever you configure on the ether channel port will be will be configured on the individual physical link, right, between the switches, right? So that is your homework, okay, and then you can download also and wait for submission as usual, right? As usual is there, right? So before I let you guys try, you can try this one first, right? The implementing of interchannel, right? If you have, so means if you're doing it, if you have any questions, then that means it should be okay when you go to. Ooh, this one is 641. Let me just confirm whether it's the same. 642. All right. So 641. Homework one is for implementing is 641. All right. For lab is 642. So it's not the same. All right. Good. All right. So that when you're doing the packet tracer homework, you can you've already done this one, the channel, right? You can choose to do your self-assessment at home, lah, I guess, yeah, because maybe you want to try this one first, the Hsrp. Okay, whichever you try, it's okay, lah. But I believe that you probably want to have a set yourself a time limit, and then you try to do it within that time limit, just for testing yourself to assess yourself. Okay, you can do preparation before you start. By what I mean is that if you don't have it already, you prepare the list of commands. Because I believe for SBA you are allowed to prepare a list of commands. Even face to face, you're allowed to prepare commands. I'm not sure for computer networks though. I remember for the previous course you are allowed, but this one not sure lah. But since this is open book online, so I think you should take advantage of it to have prepared your list of commands, so you don't have to memorize. Not only not memorize, but also you don't have time to go and search for the commands during the test itself. Having the commands, but of course, having the commands, if you don't know how to use them, is also not ideal, right? So that's why you do the exercises, so you actually not only you have the commands, but you know how to use them, right? As a practice. All right. So if no questions, I'll let you guys go on and try first. Try do the exercises. Okay. If I'm monitoring our chat here, if you have any question, just leave a message in the chat. Raise a hand to get my attention, or you can unmute and just ask directly. All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
go to S2 line console 0. We will set the password as Cisco 15. Application mode to S2. Same command. Service. First of all, we will create it on S1. CLI. Give the name as next is C. Okay, we will go to options, preferences, and here we will give this always show port labels in. Now all unused ports we will assign to parking lot VLAN. Here we can see we used only FA0/1 and FA0/6. We will go to S1 CLI. We will exit from here. Then we will give an interface as a range FA0/2 till 5, comma, then FA0/7 till 24, comma, then we have gigabit ethernet 0/1 and 2. Now we will give switch port mode as access, and we will assign these ports to VLAN 999. That is parking lot. Switch port access VLAN it's 999.